that's kind of what we came to know that could lead to some success for KRU. Now it just comes down to replicating it at the higher level. Here we go, upper bracket round 2. We've got MIBR taking on KRU Visa. Let's get it on.
Slow start so far. Really not too much being shown right now by KRU. Looking to see if MIBR are going to give anything, but it's just a patient, anchored, bunkered play there on that B side of the map. Trap play off of some information and contact. You see Sadok does try to bait with that information. The timing, though, when it comes down to the 0 point, getting so much value.
Yeah, the knife also forces out that curveball, so forces MIBR to step up in towards A main. That will lead towards this aggression now at B. Spy cam, trap wire, all in position. Follow-up cove from the defense, just trying to see how much the map MIBR can still contest, even though they are not necessarily here yet. Sarah's going to get the easy plant. Now it's down to retake opportunity. No fast lane for Auspice. Keep that in the back of your mind. It's going to have to just be behind what they do with this water wall from Mizzino. Here comes the retake attempt. Opportunity here for Sadok to try to delay, but the flash does not really hit where it's intended to. Sarah able to find first blood. Good pinch from Les. Cannot hit the shots, though. How critical could that possibly be? Site retake is now here, but it's just down to can you actually find eliminations, and so far it is all KRU, and the kill feed Sadok's gonna find 3. Last one left alive is Tex, nowhere to go. KRU take the pistol.
Nicely done there by KRU. Picking up this pistol, absolutely huge for them. Again, reiterating what happened the last time we saw them on Breeze. We wanted them to start off on the right foot. And that wrap coming in from Les there was really the linchpin for this round. Yes, Sadok absolutely gets the frags on site, but Les is the one who causes that chaos. It forces the members of MIBR to look to turn around, try and fight into tons, and perfectly played there by KRU.
Really well done. Also just good to kind of know the timing of when they try to take that little challenge over towards A main, the knife revealing so much early. Different setup, of course. MIBR just on basic pistols. You don't expect much drama here.
Already seeing a walkout into elbow there for MIBR, just searching for information on the site that they have stacked.
Opening shot for Heat goes a bit wide, but middle of the map control is good for KRU. Just comes down to how do they want to use this as a pivot point. No immediate focus on towards A main as of yet. MIBR are going to kind of gamble stack just a touch and see if they've guessed correctly.
It's a moment to also kind of feel out for the side of KRU how MIBR are looking to handle that defense. But right now, MIBR, Aspas has a lot of information with this push into elbow. It's such a comfortable hold here for KRU. But again, still a weapons disadvantage. You see now KRU making that rotation over towards that A side.
Well, MIBR have guessed correctly. This will be a finish on towards the A site. Auspice will be way outside of the play, but could potentially go quickly to get back through mid, depending on how messy MIBR can make this hit from the front. Cove Smoke is actually going to block off this entryway. That will allow an extra stack to come through, and I love this from MIBR. They're going to try to clear out that mid-cut to see if they can get that rotation in quicker from Auspice. Initial trade starts to come through. Sadok low on HP, still trying to hold the angle, and it's Zera who has the double to open up the site completely for the plant.
Rotation coming in super late here for Aspas, trying to make his way on that pinch.
Sadok falling, Vernal's able to find a second. And now all of a sudden, 2v2. Verno in some trouble. Focus is still over to his direction. He does not have the recon bolt as of yet. When does Aspas make their move? Little shoulder, saw Zera on the corner by the spike. Here comes the next play, not able to connect. Heat able to find the finishing touch, and now it's just down to Verno. Not a lot of health to play with, not a lot of hope in the tank for this one, and KRU will take the anti-eco, though it was stressful.
Yeah, Verno getting a lot more than KRU anticipated, anchoring that backside of A. And we're going to have to continue to keep an eye on Aspas on those positions here on defense. We've seen the transition for him. I think the adjustments from MIBR to see Aspas playing a little bit more forward, taking some of those risks and being the first person to look for some of that contact, but that information is definitely going to be huge when it comes down to the calling there for Mizzino. And those leans that we're seeing, those heavy stacks looking to fight forward.
Here we go, bonus round for KRU. Still going to have a handful of rifles to play with, and Mizzino, who tried to take an early contact over towards A main, is going to get punished by Dante. So early numbers for KRU. That's also going to be a rifle that could be collected here. So KRU's got a lot building early in the first 30 seconds.
Right now, MIBR see the owl drone going into elbow. The timing could be really good here, but regardless, is going to spot out Heat. Knowing that the chamber is lurking on the B side of the map, expecting that hit at A.
Well, the owl drone will re-clear for KRU over towards elbow, but MIBR once again have guessed correctly here. 50 seconds on the clock. There's not a full commitment yet for KRU. Throwing the knife doesn't really reveal much of anything, so still a difficult decision to make here if you're KRU. Are we actually going to execute on towards A, or are we going to try to take a late peek to B? They have no intel whatsoever there. It's just the fact that they've cleared out the elbow.
Really banking on the double initiator to be able to sell this pinch to the A side of the map. Instead, actually is going to be the crunch.
Well,
all of MIBR are waiting.
Is Verno going to disrespect the wall? Understeer going to be called out for the attack. KRU able to get on towards site. Dante, lots of information towards the back. Relay bolt will be sent. But is there an opportunity for Les to follow up on that? Able to find the first two. Massive double there. Opportunity to get the spike now on. Zekin trying to challenge. Able to find the first. Dante trying to get the counter, but it's going to be Verno to hold for a moment. It's just not for long enough. KRU's going to take the bonus. And already through 3 rounds, they've matched the tally that they were able to earn versus Bestia just a couple days ago.
Really nicely done. Splitting into A there. MIBR, they had 4 players on site waiting in the wings for KRU's execution. The timing was perfect coming out from Heat on that flank on top of just the opening that we saw Les find through mid doors.
Well, so far, 3 rounds in, hard to really kind of sell anything to you guys right now, but for the moment, MIBR are having a really tough time on the 2 peaks that they've put together over towards A main. And that has allowed KRU to find success getting on to none other than that A site. Sheriffs will largely be in play here for MIBR. There is a run it back available for a second if things get interesting, but for KRU, this is about, again, just build the banks, cross your T's, dot your I's, don't do anything crazy, don't scam, don't make a mistake, and cruise your way to a 4-0 start.
Heat on the scoped weapons has constantly been a problem for the teams that KRU face on the attacking side ever since that chamber has been picked up.
Oh, and they see the rifle on the barrel. Tex comes through to find one on the trade. Not able to slip away, though. Good spam from Zera. Make sure that Tex cannot escape. And that's a lot of information for KRU that, yep, there are more than a couple of players here at the cross at A doors. So that will lead to a very quick entry in towards B, and this post plant will be very difficult in the 3v4 for MIBR to break down.
Yeah, you have Heat also positioned into Nest, actually looking to cut off the rotation, not looking to guard the weapon. I believe that might actually be able to be picked up here into mid. Has been tossed away.
Yeah, perfect timing on that. He'd be able to find one. Can't quite connect on to Verno for the second, but damage is done. The trap is in, and KRU will only drop 1 in the process. This is night and day different than how they looked versus Bestia a couple days ago.
Absolutely huge adjustments coming in from KRU. Just within a couple of days, like you were mentioning, it does help when MWSer is going 9-0
yeah, that helps.
For certain.
Yeah, that definitely helps.
But overall, we have to remember, this is a KRU that has been rejuvenated ever since their first win before heading into play-ins. Continuing forward with that kind of momentum. Meanwhile, MIBR, they're still trying to pave their way also into playoffs, the first match that we're seeing from them here today.
Here we go. Flash comes through, but the water smoke once again just kind of blocks the effects of the flash, and Dante's going to be able to find first blood. That's on to Auspis, who, I mean, we'll talk about it a lot throughout this match. As a first blood warrior, he's been undeniable this stage. The fact that Auspis is 0-5, 3 of those deaths have been in the first essential 30 seconds of rounds, is so jarring to watch.
The other thing, too, is aside from some of those trap plays that we saw set up for A main, those initial peaks are often unassisted in some of those moments. It kind of brings me back to that one round where we saw Mizzino going for a very similar swing, disconnected. MIBR definitely looking to tighten things up when it comes down to some of these duels that they're taking together.
Yeah, I mean, so far, every single trap play towards A main has been a complete and utter fail. And it's just not at all what this game plan was meant to be. So, null command's going to be spent. That will allow KRU to jump on towards this A site pretty freely. Most of the defense not affected by the null command could still try to influence this post plant just a touch by contesting with a little bit of utility behind this water wall. But Les will get the plant. You've got all 4 players ready to go for MIBR. Run it back will be spent first by Zekit. Flashing his way in, not anyone to find though, that's the issue. Follow up, Sadhak right there to stop. Fragment in the back corner. Just trying to distract and deter the concentrated setup of MIBR, who are now making their way back over towards the outside portion, towards the spike. Can they put pressure on towards the spike itself? The wall will fall. Cove will be placed instead. MIBR finding a couple of eliminations. Verno almost able to find a double, but not quite. Heat in a little bit of trouble here. Snaps away, and Dante almost able to turn that into a double, but no, instead it's Zekin. A little 1v2 at the end for him, and MIBR finally on the board.
Much needed round there for MIBR. Definitely an expensive one to come away with, but Operator at least saved into the next round here as well. But these main plays are gonna be something we're gonna have to fix up. Unfortunately, there's a little team flash situation in that moment. But I also think that what KRU are doing so well is when it comes down to the utility that Sadhak is throwing, that 0 point, it's also making it really awkward for MIBR to try and play that trap play in mid too, because they're trying to get the right timing. And Sadhak is so good at juggling different timings with that 0 point, with those refights. And it definitely gets tough to get aggressive there.
That was a very critical round for MIBR to be able to take. Otherwise, you lose that, you're on a bit of a save, and you're probably hitting the timeout button to talk about what is going wrong. Instead, now you've got full purchase, Hunter's Fury at the ready, and Auspice has been able to earn themselves an operator. Mazzino able to find first blood from the back side of the A site on this entryway. That will take down Sadhak. So all that extra initiation, or at least stall tactic of using the utility of the KO, is now off the table.
Positioning there for less on that flank as well. It does get caught out.
It's a lot of information. Heat is going to be absolutely required to do something incredible here. Double curveball comes through. Easy for Zeka to find that pick. Auspice makes this number situation that much more favorable for MIBR. Dante, the secret agent behind the play, had so much to focus on, couldn't find anything in a flawless second round for MIBR.
3 takes now looking much more comfortable for MIBR. When we saw those early aggressive rounds, it was KRU who were coming out on top when it came down to those first bloods. This adjustment working out nicely. Now it's on KRU's shoulders to find the answer back.
Great stuff. Okay. So now that we've seen MIBR be able to throw in the operator to the monkey wrench of the system here towards what has been going wrong towards the opening portion of this defense. Yeah, I was going to say it might be time for KRU to talk about it, because ultimates that could potentially come to play here. Hunter's Fury for both sides, Reckoning for both sides, Overdrive nearly for both sides. So even battle just comes down to the decision of who wants to use what and when. And off the get-go, once more this Chamber utility continues to come over towards B. Defensive Hunter's Fury coming out, trying to isolate over towards the elbow. But even though Verno connects, it's an immediate trade from Heat. So we're going to get a 4v4. But the Reckoning is no longer on the table for KRU if they want to use that as a post-plant security measure or as an opportunity to execute.
See the shift over from KRU with the insert still Heat being on the left side of the map. Operator is still waiting in the wings there over at Tons. Might not be watching main, but Auspice will turn once the execution does come in full force.
Lots of trust that Tex can hold behind what is just a single trap at the front doors at B. Auspice would have to move quickly to either get the heck out of there or to assist, as the Aldrun will now make this play known. Also a Cyber Cage down that Tex can play off of. Tries to beat the timing, but doesn't get Dante on the corner. Oh, how key is that? Dante able to shut down Tex. Auspice will retreat back over towards the arches. Defense rotating in.
30 seconds left.
Does Mazzino try to find a way to drop this Reckoning early to get Verno onto the site a little bit faster, but you don't even need to, because Sadhak will drop to the shock dart. Now you get the water wall up to break down the site. Overdrive for Dante, but he's at 5 health. And that's going to be enough for Verno just to spam through the wall and find the connection. How about that from Verno? 3v2. Zera playing deep does have the Hunter's Fury for post-plant security. Heat would have to still force the play off the spike first and foremost. There's the Hunter's Fury queued. Verno steps away. Auspice able to find one, and now they know exactly where Zera's positioned. You can stick onto this. Auspice holding. Zera needs to be able to find the first. He is back to the pistol. Not going to happen. It's 4 for Verno, and MIBR will get 3 in a row.
Insane coming out from Verno. Previously, the IGL here for MIBR. Mazzino has since picked up that responsibility And ever since then, Verno being let off of his leash, he has been absolutely lights out, being able to focus on those micro gameplay moments.
How big, though, not only is Verno be able to find the eliminations, but to start things off by breaking off the post plant with the shock darts. Undeniable stuff. KRU dealing with some trouble. They will have the ability to full purchase, and they will have a tour de force with that reckoning that was earned from the last round. So with that, let's see how KRU try to bounce back with the KRU listening.
Dante flash aqui. Quebra o spot alguém? Alguém fica chicken?
É, o Dante fica.
Tá,
Marca
ok.
você, Hit, então, aí?
Aham, provável. Tá no pilar.
Guy, vamos correr pra esquerda agora.
Tá bom.
Juntos.
Dante, eu acho que você usa teu stun na DD, viu?
Tá.
Quando a gente for passar. Que pode estar na cara na direita. Tô sentindo no meu biglau. Tá,
Já
beleza.
tô pronto pra paredar.
Tá. Vamos fazer agora então.
Vou fazer então, bora?
Pera a parede primeiro. Faz a parede, vai. Vai, stuna.
Zone A.
Alp e meio.
Indo, Alp.
Câmera aqui.
Tô vendo nada A.
Boqueira
É,
fio.
retake, ó, isso.
É.
É, Fênix e
Calma,
Cypher
depois
aparece.
É, isso,
Mano,
vamos na
vai ser
manhã.
essa parede pra gente
Vamos na
passar.
manhã aqui.
É,
Ó, entra nessa boca, contato,
Tá, tá.
contato e você vai depois.
3 aqui.
Calma,
Vai ter
baga.
Vamos dar,
Vai
bagueia.
ter 4 aí, guys. Boa.
Atrás aí tá backside, Cypher. Foi portal.
Falta na smoke.
Tá, calma.
Não consigo te ajudar, velho.
Backside ainda.
Eu não sei onde tá o só.
30 seconds left.
Mano, ele tá aqui parado, ele sai.
Player standing.
Ah, pegou na passagem.
E...
Valeu.
Well, the hot start for KRU has been immediately counteracted, and maybe there is some proof in the pudding here, not only because Auspice has been able to connect with the operator, but honestly, MIBR just staying alive as 5 beyond the first 30 seconds of the round.
It has been really tough for KRU. They haven't really been able to force any of those early fights out from MIBR to get the picks necessary to be an advantage early into that post plant, even before getting that spike down. This adjustment coming out from MIBR. The Mutazino has called for these retakes. Has looked so good. And now timeout to be called on the side of KRU.
Yeah. And we do some damage to get beyond the lengths of the actual site itself to put extra pressure on the defense trying to rotate in to help.
It's either that or the other option would be really, again, relying on those lurks. Late flanks coming in that we've seen previously from Les going for those backstabs. Something where KRU have made the adjustment to give the respect in that regard into those post plans because MIBR were showing that they're willing to re-clear the space.
Yeah. And honestly, since MIBR have been at full force, they really haven't rotated through mid at all. They just rotated through their spawn and just reinforced from the back of the site. So it's been very easy in certain regards for MIBR right now. Very similar look in terms of how KRU come out of spawn. Heat still just trying to find some information with this op on the B side of the map, but this once again looks like it's just going to be a hard commit into A.
You do have null command available here for Sadak. That's why you're seeing the entire team of KRU looking to group up as 5.
There's the offensive high tide followed by the null command. Auspice does connect on the Sodhawk, but not enough to take him out of commission. Couple of tags, couple of spams coming through. Dante able to find first blood, but caught in the reload. Les gives another one over to KRU, taking Auspice out of the picture. Verno's in some big trouble, but he's able to still find one even while being flashed out by the Storm Surge. So great stuff coming through to at least keep the defense in a position to try to fight this back, but easier said than done. Zekin is back into the picture. Has a lot of tools to play with.
One away from the run it back. Les, though, does have the reckoning if everything does go awry.
And is going to spend it early. Heat able to connect. Rendezvous away. Zera able to follow up. That's more like it if you're KRU. Breaking up the 4 rounds in a row. And KRU up into the lead 5-4.
Nicely done there on the side of KRU. Also want to just give a huge shout out to how well these initiators are performing for both sides. Verno and MW Zera, top of the leaderboard, absolutely owning right now that head-to-head. I can't believe Verno still was able to get one before MW Zera took him out.
Yeah, KRU vibing with that one. That's exactly what you need. Zera is 13-4 after his 9-0 start, having himself a heck of a first half. Ospas looking to challenge a little bit early here over towards A. Coves will be exchanged. Flash comes through with the flashpoint. Verno feeling the pressure, has the Hunter's Fury, tags once onto Dante, trying to find the next connection, not going to happen. And the offense will go back to splitting things up with a minute 20 on the clock.
Different setup this time around from Tex on the side of MIBR. More than happy to play that retake protocol alongside that, run it back there for Zekin.
I don't know if they're going to anticipate Zera playing in this position. That Aldrin was meant to flush out mid. Instead, Zera is hearing all of this rotation and now is technically behind the play. And it looks like KRU may try to put some pressure from the front of B to see if Zera can maybe get around the back through arches.
The walk-up is going to come in. You have Dante on the other side of the map just causing all of this disruption.
That is brilliant from KRU. Recon Bolt will come through. Now you have to try to crunch from the front. You cannot just allow Zera to be sitting here picking between two poisons, and that's not enough. MIBR is finding all the individual 1v1s across the map. This is falling apart in what looked to be a perfect setup for KRU. They can't even get the plant off right now. Last going to be called upon, able to find the first. Tex gets the response. They're that's going to come through. It's just Sadok left for the 1v2 and not able to find the connection. And that is a complete folly from KRU after what looked to be a masterful setup.
That was an insane insert that we saw from KRU, getting NW Zera into that position. Definitely tough to not be able to take this round away. And it also relied on Dante on the other side of the map. He was trying to keep that presence over at the A side, but MIBR had such a firm understanding of what the mind games were on the side of KRU.
I mean, kind of. It's just the fact that KRU are so slow to hit through B main that it puts Zera into this really impossible situation of he's got to worry about Tex through arches, you got to worry about any defenders coming from A, and honestly, Tex is getting away with way too much lease on life by sitting in the back of the site right there, not getting any pressure from KRU from the front. It's a big mishap for KRU, who are now finding themselves on a bit of a broken bye. There's a stinger in hand for Sadhawk, but a quick commitment. KRU are just going to dive on towards the A site behind this high tide, but they don't have any distraction to pull Auspice off the corner. Overdrive is out. Relay Bolt to follow. Looks like Auspice just wants to do it all himself, and he very well may. Spike now down, and KRU are crumbling behind the defensive pressure of MIBR.
A flawless round there for MIBR, and an Auspice that went absolutely nuclear with that overdrive. When it comes down to the rosters that Auspice has been on ever since he debuted on the big stage alongside Loud, he has attended every single champions within VCT. He's been there with Sadok and Les, as well as Tex and Mizuno.
That's another round right there for KRU where it just doesn't feel as well coordinated as it needed to be. The high tide is out, but your Hunter's Fury is late. You don't clear off the angle that Auspice is holding. Just feels a little bit skittish right now for KRU. MIBR putting it together, and Auspice understands the situation. We're on light armor, so let me pull out the Outlaw. Another first blood tallied. Mizuno able to get the second behind that. And KRU are stuck, just essentially having to force the square peg into the round hole here, front side of A.
Plant will go down. Aldron gonna spot out at least 1 to 2 players here, and Dante taking out Auspice is definitely huge to try and equalize as far as the numbers that are close by sight.
Oh man. Verno connects again with a shock dart. He'd able to find second though, right before the curveball flex his sight. 2 versus 3, still doable for KRU. But you have to hold. There's the defensive recon bolt out. Zera up close and personal finds the first. Does not initially snap for the second, and Verno finds the trade. Just down to heat. Timing not going to be there. Verno will find 3 in the round, and MIBR will finish off a 7-5 half after dropping the first 4 rounds.
Really lovely tempo change there with the defensive-sided aggression coming out from MIBR. The conditioning when it came down to those retakes where they were playing so bunkered on site, leading up into this final round where they press that go button. And KRU, they weren't ready for it. It was also a tough position, granted, in that post plant with the high tide coming through. MW Zera, he wasn't going to be able to have that support from Heat in the post plant with that vision being cut off.
But so far, MIBR, big bounce back after the hot crew start. We'll swap the sides to see if MIBR can take their map, or does crew have something cooked? We'll find.
That they definitely are, especially when we know that there is going to be that focus for MIBR, trying to cycle into that run it back as often as possible there for Zekin. Already in the last half, we saw crew come out on top when it came down to those first engagements. And it was consistently that multi-kill, just firepower frag potential that was bringing rounds back there for MIBR, on top of the synergy that we've seen from them in those fast floods, something that we know they're going to be able to replicate here on the attacking side.
After a little team huddle for MIBR in their spawn, looks like they're going to make their way up in towards the elbow entryway and then eventually over to B. Crew have guessed on this A stack. Heat does not have his rendezvous down yet. High tide will come through, and that'll be enough for Heat to just get out of there and wait for help to rotate in. This should be a very quick plant for MIBR.
Good reposition there coming out from Heat to ensure that he will be alive for the fight later on, but keep an eye on Tex, especially when you have MW Zera looking to re-clear into mid. That's going to be an important interaction.
The offensive cove will go down, trying to stall out crew for as long as possible. Zekin's able to find first blood by way of the hot hands. Zera's able to at least clear out the tunnel, though. Now 2 points of ingress can start to occur here for crew. Recon bolt will be destroyed. Now it's up off the action through the cove. It doesn't get reinforced. Zekin able to find one behind the play. Aiming is now able to get another on top of that. Still dealing with some pressure, but MIBR have the perfect crossfire. Crew just could not get back onto site. MIBR take the pistol.
Really great communication coming out there from MIBR, ensuring that they can find those fights together as crew look to flood in. Especially after Tex goes down into mid, denying that opportunity for the re-lurk to come on in. Because at first, with the fast flood, it started to look like it was in crew's favor, but I feel like Zekin being able to stay alive on pillar there was also a huge position to be able to ensure that crew wouldn't find that footing.
I think even though you lose tunnel right there if you're MIBR because of Tech's position, you still put so much pressure on arches that you're able to just back up in toward the main entryway and still use your choke points beautifully. So great stuff for MIBR. Crew stuck on basic pistols once again. MIBR, huge advantage. Kind of the same story that we talked about for crew in the first half. Just don't scam, don't make any critical errors, and you should be walking away with the 9th round here.
Patiently played right now by MIBR. You have Tex, who has threaded the needle on Heat.
Well, defense is going to rotate over quickly. Tex able to find the first. Now it's just about how much more can you grab, and will not expect that Zera was playing that far deep. So it's a really quick trade. Crew is going to use that as an alarm system to know that this is going to be a play over towards B main. Sadhawk trying to cut it off. There's the time. He looked for the right click, but the damage does not allow much more than just a health pool chunk onto Auspice. Quick plant behind this once again, but this is going to be a different retake opportunity for crew with this route.
I like this from crew. I don't think MIBR are going to expect that many players coming in from the flank. But still, you have a crossfire being held here. It should be impossible for crew to find purchase.
It's just down to, can you quickly clear out some of these MIBR players from the front side at B main? Maybe steal a weapon back. Could be an opportunity. Heat in some trouble. Mazzino still holding him in the corner. Recon bolt through. Hot hands comes up and over. And then the Reboy bolts behind us. This is taking a lot of time, and crew are still stuck at the choke point, and now MIBR are fully aware of what's happening. Heat able to get one in response, but that is a mere footnote in what is a very convincing MIBR round.
Starting up here for MIBR, crew kicked off this map, winning 4 rounds in a row before MIBR clapped back to be able to take the lead for themselves as well. But man, honestly, that's just, Valorant's a horror movie sometimes. You got people jump through smokes.
Now, this is a must-win round right here for crew. Going into a bonus round that's not going to feel like a bonus round for MIBR, mostly due to the fact they all have rifles, and you have a run it back, and you get an Auspice first blood onto Dante. Sure, Sadhawk's going to get some information off of the knife, and it may slow down any potential play, but MIBR are going to take their numbers and now start to push-pull the defense around the map.
He hears the camera in elbow, knows the trip is outside of E as well. Will MIBR look to check him?
Yeah.
But regardless, with these picks into mid here, for MIBR, they're more than happy to shift back to that A site.
Yeah, that's just not a fight that I think KRU was anticipating having right there, trying to play a double stack in through mid. Maybe you're anticipating somebody up close on the turret, but you're not anticipating taking long-range battles like that, down numbers. So the fast lane will go up, crossing T's and dotting I's here, MIBR, making sure that they get a completely free A site. And now all of a sudden, what started off as what was a must-win round, it felt like for KRU, now you're just saving rifles.
I think the tough thing when it comes down to this composition here, very much similar to the issue that we had with the solo Viper, is just the amount of coverage you're going to be able to provide for your team, right? When we do see the solo smokes come out on this map of Breeze, it's usually supplemented by a Cypher who can have the cyber cages to be able to provide those crosses, especially over in mid. And if not the Cypher, then you usually have a Phoenix. So you have like the double wall when it comes down to those duelists. And for KRU, there's just too much ground that Les does have to cover with that utility. There's so much investment into this composition with MW Zera and Sadak both being on that KO and Sova to simply be setting up Dante and Heat for success in the early rounds.
Yeah, I think the other side of this, talking about the composition, let's just talk about the chamber. You know, it feels like just kind of watching KRU in the last couple of weeks, and I think especially watching them on Thursday, and hearing their reactions, Heat is good with op, so put him on agent that gets op more often. Problem is, he hasn't had an opportunity to really dominate the same way that he was versus Bestia. Now, granted, this is on Breeze. This is a map that they really, really struggled with on Thursday, so we're not going to like sit here and say that it's done deal, but in terms of that X factor that they tried to build in, Heat has not been a part of the success recipe as of yet. Again, 4 out of the 5 rounds for KRU have been tallied by way of shutting down early aggression chances from MIBR. Run it back, going to be spent here early. Second will be denied. KRU will come away the benefactor of the opening trades, but there's still so much early pressure for MIBR, getting not just onto site, but trying to do a little bit more than that. The KRU are well and truly prepared for it until Auspice is able to get 2 and bring this to a 2v2. And Auspice isn't done yet, but Les will put him down. Down to Mazzino. Has the reckoning if he wants it. Not able to find the first shot. Les puts him away, and KRU get another one on the board.
One that they really needed as well when you're taking a look at that economy. You're being stuck in kind of that cycle of having to save those eco rounds coming through, not really being able to get anything started. So being able to get this round win does add that additional security to the bank that is for certain. Mid-round adaptations have been looking really good coming out from Sadak throughout the last couple of matches that we've seen from KRU. And this is a squad that has historically continuously struggled on Breeze, and it was always an identity problem, trying to figure out what composition works well for them.
Watch out for these pings that are coming through right now, though, for KRU defensively. Looks like there may be some sort of an early high tide and then a dash up from Dante. He's able to get over. Recon Bolt will come through first. No reveal there. Oh, and they're holding on to a Reckoning, seeing if maybe they can try to find a trap play here at Elbow, but the timing of that play has now gone. And instead, you're going to get a deep play for Heat in towards A main, and the defense will be able to afford a stack on the B site.
Really nice timing on the call from Mazzino for the walk back up here at B.
So there's the offensive Reckoning to come through. Defensive high tide trying to sit there and say, yeah, come challenge us if you dare. Aldrone to try to follow. Good early information. This will allow KRU a chance to contest the spike plant for the first time, but Zek and Mazzino keep the numbers for MIBR. And now Verno's deep in the backside of the site. And there's just no way, if you're Sadhawk, you feel comfortable taking any extra peeks right now, but at a certain point, you have to create something out of nothing. Verno not able to find anything with the offensive Aldrone. And now Sadhawk's going to get down to his recon mission. Heat nearby. I'm sure they know that Mazzino is low on health, and they're thinking this is still winnable, even though it's a tough post plant to break down. First opportunity gets missed. Heat now by himself. Too many to deal with. MIBR up to 11.
Really nicely done there by MIBR. Heads up from Zekin as well. Just the game sense to be aware that with how those two high tides were interacting, he was expecting someone to be creeping in through that gap to find some sort of reposition on site. A nice spray that comes down there. And KRU, while we have seen improvements from them on this map of Breeze, MIBR continue to just look that much more comfortable. Yahoo! Give me your best one.
Give me your best Mario. Yahoo!
Okay, we're going to work on go and lean into this role where he is going to be that tip of the spear and adjust so well where he has a performance like this is really refreshing to see coming out from him.
Without question. There may be some early aggression here. MIBR maybe being able to tally that KRU are going to be on a limited purchase, so let's just not even give them a chance to get a read on us. That's exactly what comes through. Les is outside the picture, able to throw the wall up, trying to find first contact, but doesn't really work out all that well. Dante, if he could find one more, would have an overdrive. Not able to get back to cover, though, and KRU will be in some trouble. And this is bold. We're tossing out the Hunter's Fury just as a way to try to contest the round, and Zera does connect. The spike is down, not planted yet, so maybe an opportunity to still work with this as the tour de force for Heat gets pulled.
Oh, Verno, though, on that timing through elbow, taking down Sadak makes it that much more difficult. Investment of the run it back here.
Not able to take down Heat. Spike being planted. Zera trying to step up. That's a huge first contact.
No way.
2 versus 2. But you're still dealing with a stinger from Zera, not the tool you want for the job. Verno playing deep. Tex playing on an island. Isolation trying to come through. Tex able to get the swing. The timing is perfect, and MIBR get to match point.
Clinical micro from Tex and Verno to get to match point. To be able to get those one immediately in quick succession, nicely done there. It's tough, not in position to be able to trade each other out, and they make the most of it. KRU. Those rotations through mid, we've seen them look to clear out that space previously, but not necessarily expecting it that time around. It's been tough. I feel like we've seen them fight a little bit more forward. We've seen them go for those more retake scenarios, but MIBR just shooting back better at the moment. The utility has been perfect as well.
Now we're just holding W, holding mouse 1. First blood good, Sadak is out of the picture. Hunter's Fury just to block off arches will lead to a quick plant for MIBR. The pressure on the flank has to work for KRU, and Zekit has a read, but doesn't find the first shot to land. Follow-up from Verno, though, is there, and you get help from Mazzino. Brilliant isolation from MIBR. And now the last legs for KRU here on Breeze come by way of Heat and Les. Reckoning sent out over towards the sidewall. Osmus able to find the first, Mazzino the final. MIBR, after a bit of a stumble in the first 4 rounds, come through, take care of business, and steal away the opener with some conviction.
First kill participation on Breeze.
That's big, that's big. Honestly, the first bloods back and forth between both teams was relatively even, so not much to say in terms of finding an advantage to one side or the other there. It was more about just being able to know exactly how the breakdowns on site were going to go. Dante going to throw a little bit of a challenge, a little bit of an effort here for KRU at mid-map. Good look right there in that crossover. Saw a handful of players at tiles, but honestly, KRU not too interested in challenging it for the moment.
I like this aggressive line that KRU are already holding, though Les having that information. It's going to be up to Heat and Tex. MW Zera trying to help with a little bit of that presence, but you have such a heavy pressure now that MIBR have looked to place on that top mid side. And with that trip broken, that means that Sadak is forced to stay in that position. Keep an eye on that potential push out.
I like this though from KRU. The one-way smoke kind of gets disrespected by MIBR throwing a smoke of their own, so KRU are just going to take a little bit of a poke and feel out over towards B main. Nothing there though. So now again, just a little bit, I would say, deceived, as MIBR have not shown much of anything, and now all of a sudden here's the crunch on towards the main portion of the B site. Pinstripe kill feed, but that's enough for numbers to still exist with MIBR. Tech's going to make sure of that as he finds another follow-up onto Sadak deep into the site, and Les, rotating late, has a very difficult 1 versus 3 in front of him.
Les, he's been a world champion before. If he can open up this pistol round here for KRU on their map pick, question of the hour. Texas low down to 1.
Just needs to hit one shot. Oh, not what you like to see. Tex comes away with 3 in the round. MIBR with the pistol. And I love that. You disrespect the one by throwing a smoke of your own. You don't give away any information off the knife. You put panic into the minds of KRU, and all of a sudden, you're on the B site.
You are, but the other issue is what the desk was kind of touching about, I think it was Sato who had shouted it out, the fact that KRU are playing a lot more individually. We saw solo peaks that entire round. There just wasn't that support where they're seeing those calls to take those swings together. Something that MIBR are so good at doing, their spacing consistently clean in those moments as well. You cannot be making those mistakes up against an MIBR where when you're taking a fight, it's usually at least against 2 players.
That's a very fair point. Well, this round, once again, going to have MIBR in the anti with superior firepower. Aldrone just a hit from the front side at B. No commitment here, though, behind that. Instead, ooh, shoulder of Heat has been seen. I believe Heat is aware that he's been noticed, though, so he will back away. And KRU's going to have MIBR a little bit bottled up here front side at B.
Big opening pick, though, at the very least there for Heat. Closing that door allows KRU to focus more of their attention on B main.
Well, here comes the hit. Deep recon bolt. You teleport out of your Mazzino, who's able to just spam the dark cover for 1. The hot hand's largely just going to be walked through. No problems there. Defense still in a position to try to hold in the backside of the B site. MIBR looking, they want to maybe even challenge this, and Hospice will just spray down the smoke. Zera able to come back through with a couple, so nice from MW Zera, but Dante will get this over to a 1v1. Him versus Mazzino, slides out, but can't quite hit this shot. Mazzino able to find the anti-eco for MIBR.
Nicely done there by Mazzino. A nice effort from Dante, but not enough. Veterancy there for Mazzino is going to come out on top. I like the idea when it came down to that mid-site smoke that we saw being thrown down by KRU. For Less to be able to kind of hold on to the right side of the site. But unfortunate that just doesn't pan out in their favor. Instead, MIBR took advantage of it.
Well, MIBR punished pretty big on that anti-eco, so they're going to be a little bit more limited on this bonus. Full weapons involved, though, for KRU. Second's able to get the ultimate ready to go, so that will likely be part of the execute you'd have to figure here for MIBR trying to get this bonus through the finish line.
Reposted on the angle there in elbow for Heat. And Tex is just trying to see if he can hear anything into market, any kind of rotation. Good information that Les has found, though, now backing up onto site.
Sadhak holding onto a fragment to keep market contested. Prowler through mid. Tex will be flushed out. Huge first blood there for KRU. Has MIBR focusing a rotation, and there is a lot of open space to work with over towards A. They may not necessarily know that, though, but regardless of it, there is a wide open avenue for them to hit.
Again, looking to try and deal with this top mid trip.
Oh, that's so good from MW Zera. The space for Zekin is minimal off the run it back. You still get past the choke point, and you get some pressure over towards mid. Paranoia going to come through. That's going to allow some isolation over to the middle of the map. Mazzino still trying to step up, and it's going to be a late rotation back over to B. You've got market control here if you are MIBR. KRU going to have to play the retake. This is a really good sense of control, but MW Zera comes through again. That's your spike carrier now down. Dante trying to keep that contested. Last couple of seconds, you just have to find the picks, and there will be no more time here for Auspice. Just comes down to, can you make this more punishing? The answer is no, and KRU come away with a very comfortable round.
A great refight coming in from KRU into mid, ensuring that they are taking that fight together. MIBR, I like the flood into market, but Verno to be the last one into that door was definitely unfortunate to drop that spike there. Could have been a completely different scenario had that spike gotten down, but now as we look forward into the following rounds here, KRU still have weapons advantage.
Oh, yeah.
Onto light shields, all things considered, after that round. But MW Zera, one away from that Nightfall could be huge.
Yeah, that's cause and effect, but we got to talk about that in a moment because you're just going to get a straight push through A main here for MIBR. The fast lane allows that lane to open up, and that will lead towards a first blood. But that's the cause and effect of having to repurchase so much into round 3 for what's supposed to be your bonus for MIBR, but so far unpunished. Les, big battle here with Tex. Neither of these players wants to scam and give away their life here, but Les is going to take the push and find the elimination. That will give the defense an opportunity to try to congest MIBR on this A site now.
Verno Not spotting anything out on site, forcing Sawdock to cross, and Zekin being able to take advantage of that.
Oh,
so
no.
nicely done. And now it's all up to Les. You would need an ace to win out this round. It's going to be the save. They don't have the money in the tank to take that risk.
It's just such a tough setup right there. KRU are trying to wait for that flank to get there, but as soon as Sawdock drops, it allows MIBR a chance to kind of watch all things at once because you know you've got so much clearance to the backside of the A site now. And Verno reaps the reward by finding 2 on the pinch. So it's just the timing of those peaks, just a little bit off right again from KRU. It's going to lead to a 3-1 count, and that will get the economy right back into order for your MIBR.
On the side of KRU, though, into next round, we still have that Nightfall available to work with for MW Xerath. He was the shining light for KRU on Breeze. For MIBR, though, I think they're doing a really good job of just disrespecting the knife over at A main, understanding that they can scale up fast enough thanks to Aspas being on that Neon, the follow-up there from Zekin, continuing to farm that orb. We aren't seeing as aggressive of pressure being put out by KRU for that space. Has namely been that utility. And MIBR are more than happy to fight into it, knowing that they can get the timing.
Big piece of what needs to be the recipe for KRU is coming to play here, though, in round 5. They're going to get the operator into the hands of Heat. But a lot of opportunity for MIBR to find that space back of their own rate as we go into a listen-in with MIBR.
Can we get the box, I guess? Creeping this?
What do?
Okay, I shocked the chamber trap.
Let's accept B, guys.
Yeah, got me. I have no wall.
Yeah, I'm getting orb.
We can exit
I can
on
walk
this
close.
guy after.
He's
Yeah.
glass cannon, he has no armor.
Only saw me.
We can exit on this guy. You want to smoke here?
I don't have. Oh,
Yeah,
no.
do that when we flash you. Do that when we flash you. I'm
Yeah.
gonna wall like this and we go
Okay,
backside.
I'll
I have only one smoke. Wait. In 10.
No, I'll wall like this
Okay.
and we go backside.
Do it.
Let's go.
3, 2, 1.
I'm droning over the wall.
Yep.
Waiting for a drone.
He has no
Let's go
armor.
now.
On tag, on top.
I'm flashing that guy.
He
Let's go.
peed.
I flash backside. I flash backside.
KO backside.
Flashing.
Flash. You're recruit mid right now.
I flash again.
Planting. I'm planting quick.
Show spawn.
I'm gonna get in the smoke.
Brenna is
Heavy
first.
market, maybe?
Yeah.
Dog market. Flash market. It's not burn.
I'm gonna spawn on there.
Last player standing.
On bomb.
Flash there.
MT.
Nice try.
They had up. My bad. I didn't even realize.
Flawless round for KRU, exactly what the doctor ordered. Heat able to get things going with the operator, but I will say for MIBR, kind of using that as an opportunity to evaluate the comms, a lot of investment towards trying to get deep through that B site and not allowing KRU a chance to find comfortable retakes. That's going to be something we need to keep our eye on as we go through this half.
Oh, for sure. A very good understanding of the fact that those smokes were going to allow that flood into the backside. They had to contest that space if they wanted to hold the post plan. Of course, KRU, they do come out on top when it does come to those fights. But now, I think the other thing that I had my eyes on is just the communication coming out from Zekin, how calm those comms sounded as well in the midst of those fights.
Limited purchase here actually has KRU holding onto a handful of light armors to get their eco built up just a touch, but with things like the run it back at the ready, it's going to be called immediately. And here we go once again over towards B. Heat trying to find an actual first blood instead of just taking care of Zekin, but as he misses that, now Zekin is so far forward. And that's, again, that early pressure that MIBR is trying to establish. Nightfall trying to counter. Immediately, the contest starts to come through. Tech's in some trouble in the corner, but a brilliant reveal comes through. Zekin for first blood. Everything's silenced and muted on the backside of the site, but eventually the status will be shaken off, and Tex is continuing to rip him apart with the stinger. KRU in some trouble here. How do you retake with an operator and 2 rifles into the face of Tex on the corner? The answer might be that you don't. Time is running out.
Yeah, you just can't. With how that crossfire is being held by 3 players in backside, and that op not even going to be able to be saved. MIBR, they go hunting there for the members of KRU.
I would say just, again, reflecting off the listen-in from the round previously and then seeing once more the hard commitment for MIBR to get deep this B site. KRU's going to need to find a way to stall out these executes and make it a little bit more punishing for them to get on the site in the first place, because you cannot allow MIBR to continually be putting pressure on the back screens like that.
Definitely not. KRU, the other issue, I think, with how we've seen the setups thus far, again, Heat hasn't really been able to get onto those deep lines. This will be the first one.
Oh, Tour de Force comes up a bit wide. Really good hot hands. Heat is in some trouble. Mazzino teleports onto site. That will work out for another, and now you've got Aspas creating all the space in the backline with the overdrive. Unbelievable discipline from MIBR, even in the face of absolute haste through this A site. Nowhere for Dante to go. You blink, you missed the round. MIBR flawless.
Flawless when it comes down to, sure, the numbers that were maintained by MIBR, all players staying alive, but also just the timing of every single piece of utility into that round. You have the From the Shadows landing from Mazzino at the perfect time, layered with that molly, and just a guarantee that the execution was going to be perfect there. Definitely unfortunate that Sadak does, throw out a little team flash in that situation, but it is what it is for Heat. He's just trying to get out.
Unbelievable. And that's just another instance to keep in mind of, like, if you're Crew, you have to find some way to stop these executes from happening so quickly.
Again, so much of this composition, very similar to what we saw on Breeze, is reliant on being able to set Heat and Dante up when it comes down to either early angles, to get that early information, that space, that pressure on MIBR's attack.
Okay, let's evaluate how Crew have changed things off this timeout. The trademark on the close corner at mid. You toss a knife and a seize as soon as the fast lane comes up, but MIBR, that was meant to just be kind of a show of force, not an actual commitment. But at least for Crew defensively, you check the first box. You've stopped any early aggression. You've got Heat on a hard scoped angle over towards elbow, and now you've got a 3-stack with that paranoia still in hand to potentially delay over towards B. This is exactly what you want if you're Crew. You're on a little bit of a limited purchase, but you've got to see this one come through.
It's going to be the same execution here from MIBR, trying to get that front sight control.
Hunter's Fury try to open the door here. Verno trying to use that over towards Market. Dante overdrive out, but cannot get the hands up in time. Second, off the corner, able to turn that into a second elimination backside of the site. And this is again what we're talking about. MIBR getting through the site, putting pressure onto Crew, who are now going to have to make a decision if they even want to go for this.
You're just farming up orbs
Why
now.
not?
Forzak can take every single opportunity that you possibly can. He's been absolutely unreal on the Phoenix so far.
Spike planted.
Teleport's ready.
And he's exactly the player that you want to be on that agent, right? With the communication
That's big.
that he's going to give to his team.
Problem is, this was already a decision to save. So
Oh, yeah.
even though Heat does connect, it's not going to rely on a follow-up from MW's there. Now, Zekin able to find the op on the cross back over to the backside of the A site. And this will be a very easy 6th round for MIBR. And that's just so problematic for Crew. And I get it, like the Hunter's Fury changes things completely in terms of how Crew can stay on site, or at least attempt to stay on site. But still, the fact that you were able to stop any play towards A, you get a 3-man stack with the agents that you want at B, and you still only find 1 elimination in that execute, is not great news for Crew's defense.
It is definitely tough, though. MIBR, they did throw another wrench into that, right? They didn't go off of that first layer of utility. The first time that they had that execution on that B site, you had the dark cover onto stairs. You had Zekin throwing the blaze wall on the right side to cut off that angle. But then MIBR, they waited a beat. They wait for the wall to drop. Zekin then gets the entry in after you throw in the second.
Fly away.
Well,
We got.
lovely. I'm sure that Fraud loves hearing his team sing in the coaching booth.
Well, Zekin now has to run it back at the ready. Quick play through tiles here for MIBR. This is a new look. Once again, that knife defensively for Crew tossed over towards A. There also is a one-way there for them to play off of. So Heat, no op, will still hold that angle for now. You also have less with an aggressive peek over through B main. So the only question mark you have right now is what's happening at mid.
Nobody here can really buy any time, though, for Heat if they go for this execution on the A side.
He's able to deny the owl. There's the run it back. Different spot for the rendezvous. Doesn't want to get caught by those hot hands again. Offensive paranoia is going to come through. Heat will still be taken care of. MW Zero just could not peek through this dark cover.
You have a late flank coming in here from Les, looking to Shrouded Step over that TP. Null command available into the retake here for Sadak. They have great pieces.
Now you got to get your utility on site. You need to find a way to break down this post point. Great fragment in the corner. Verno's in some trouble. He will fall. Isolation for Mazzino, though he's able to turn that into 2. MWZ are able to find at least a response to get Sodhawk back up, but second peaks at the perfect moment to find the final 2, and MIBR get to 7.
Insane swings coming out from MIBR to ensure that they're, again, taking those fights together every single time. It's been impossible for KRU to find that kind of advantage. But again, I think my issue with this anchor for Heat on this A side of the map is consistently the fact that he does not have that support. Sure, he has the rendezvous to get out, but there's no other piece of utility that's providing that delay so he actually can back up off of that site.
It really just goes you to show that like they're trusted that Heat can go one and done if he's going to play that aggressive angle without an op, but that has not been the case. And now we're on limited purchase for KRU in round 10. MIBR, no significant ultimates anywhere nearby earned, so there's going to be some resource farming you would have to imagine in this round here.
Take flight.
It's not like it's taken that much for Zekken to get those runabacks online.
No, it has not.
Not with the performance that he's been having. Heat now already pushed off the deep line here, forced to respect it. Haunt to try and garner a bit of information, but Verno is just playing distraction. Much prefer these looks from KRU when that trap is being set. The trademark over on that A side again, allowing Heat to, I think, play a little bit more comfortably.
Well, 40 on the clock, looks like MIBR are going to just take the full 5-man rush in towards B main. Knife at the ready for Sodhawk. Fragment to follow. Paranoia does still cut across the site, but MIBR will hit the pause button. They want that utility first and foremost. Fast lane will allow an opportunity to dissect the front part of the site, but how do you get through the back? You've got Dante with a stinger. This could actually be really impactful from this position, and there's so much of a read right there, but he's not able to get the trigger pulled initially. Eventually a 1-for-1 trade. MWZ back into the site with the one rifle that they might need. Can he win it all? Absolutely! 3 for MWZ, thrifty for KRU, who are still alive.
Insane hold coming out from KRU. MWZ again has been the star today in this matchup up against MIBR. Such a hero in these moments, this veteran player. One of the OGs when it comes down to players that made statements within the Brazilian scene to put them on the map internationally. That was all him. Now, again, trying to keep KRU alive in this upper bracket of the plans.
This entire series has been all him. He's just like, get in the backpack, I'll do it my damn self. So much more to do, though, here if you're KRU. And if you could find a way to get to 5, that would feel incredible. But he gets caught, and Tex is going to get a second? Oh, that's just not at all what you want to see if you're a KRU fan. So now Les has the world in front of him. First shot clean, trying to teleport away, just able to get there, trying to shut down Auspice, and that is a huge shutdown. And now he's feeling the pressure, like, get me the heck out of here. Not gonna happen. Mazzino able to stuff him up with the pistol. Zera still alive and kicking, though, gives this an opportunity for KRU. Nightfall at the ready, 2 versus 2. Post plant going to be established for MIBR.
Face your fear!
Nightfall comes out, and both players dodge it?
I think both dodge. So now you got to try to work through all the rest of MIBR's remaining utility. Prowler still at the ready as the knife connects onto both players. In the corner, Flash will connect. It leaves it just down to second for the 1 versus 2. Fragment, Haunt, both pushing Zekken out of the corner, but he's maybe going to get a lineup here, but no. Instead, Sodhawk takes away the angle, finds the elimination, and KRU get their 4th.
Great utility between both MWZ and Sodhawk to push back into that retake. A much needed round win there for KRU.
I mean, initially, that looks like a disaster round. The fact that Tex on an island gets 2, you're starting to think there's just no way. But once again, MWZ continues to absolutely bring KRU back from the depths. And now we've got full purchase for an opportunity to exit this half 7-5. And based on how it started, if you're KRU, you're sitting here like, thank goodness if that comes through.
Zekken 1 away from the run it back into this round. Again, gonna continue to look to farm up that B main orb. One of the few times we're actually seeing the trip being placed over towards main. It's that deeper exploration of mid. Something that we haven't seen from KRU since the first couple of rounds.
They're just looking for an opening pick. They don't see much here, though. Tex lurking, looking for an angle at market. Able to see one, and Dante falls. It's just not where you can afford to have a first blood. Because now the crunch starts to come through. The trademark does slow things down here, though, for MIBR. Second able to get on towards site with this run it back, but he's not able to get as deep as he would prefer to. Shut down by Sadhawk. You still have MW0 holding in the corner. Neural theft will come through. That will give a really strong lay of the land here for MIBR, and they're looking to rotate away. They've got less completely isolated off that information. Heat on the corner, connects. 3 versus 4 numbers for MIBR, but a wide open A site and a pivot man in Mazzino, who's able to shut down another. Should lead to a post plant, but this is starting to get a little costly through the middle of the map here for MIBR's attack.
A lot of individual engagements that are being taken now, but Mazzino's positioning has been the key for this round for MIBR to come back into it. Plant will be secured here. MW0 has the Haunt coming up and a Prowler to work with.
If there was ever a player you could pick to send into a 1 versus 2, it would be MW0 for KRU.
Last round, though, Hunter's Fury is available in the 2v1.
That is going to be tough to break down, especially with Verno playing deep. And Zera is just not putting pressure on the spike. There comes the commitment. Tagged by the first, dances with the second. Mazzino waiting for a chance to try to find a peek off the third. Catches him maybe with a haunt out, and that will be enough. Mazzino finishes it off 8-4 half. MIBR up.
Insane impact coming out from Mazzino. The 3K that he was able to find those little pieces into mid and getting inserted there. It allowed for that rotation to come over towards the A site, making it that much more comfortable for Verno to scale up and get that timing so that they didn't get divided up by KRU looking to rotate.
And that messy little mid setup, you initially thought maybe KRU could get away with something, but not the case. 8-4 the half. Have to have another masterful attack.
Aspas being on opposite sides to make that path over towards champions. You really can't write a better story.
Yeah, I mean, it's like they may not have familiarity playing against each other, but there's definitely familiarity, to put it plainly. That is a tall haunt. Floating above the top of the map, just on that little bit of a cable. But KRU will get that opening towards A main, but do you expect a quick double hit all through tiles, and your spike is here? Oh, no, not what you want to see. Now all of a sudden, KRU are scrambling to get back over to see if they can collect it. Again, you still don't know that there's a second player here, so you got a crossfire set up for MIBR. Dante will get the first. There's the follow-up flash from Zek, and it's some trouble, and that's a huge follow-up elimination from Dante.
Great relay bolt coming in here, but Mazzino to get the trades, and it's going to be MIBR across the scoreboard in that kill feed. Insanely done. Mazzino being able to do that as well. The first time he's facing up against his old organization on the big stage.
I think there's also just, and this is not a fair like compare and contrast moment, but you go back to one of those earlier rounds for KRU on their defense where they've got that insert and you're trying to pinch together and they don't quite execute it. That is perfection, absolute poetry from MIBR. Mazzino get in the spotlight with 3 in the end, but that double flank around the back, the timing of the pinch, absolutely chef's kiss. And now KRU are in some big trouble. Cannot afford anything, though, in terms of trying to get a force buy-in, and to make matters worse, MIBR is going to get second an extra orb over towards A, and that space is now going to lead towards these extra weapons, hard focusing on what's coming over towards B.
Now Pop Flash looks good. Aspas still tucked into that smoke. Marking control has been seized by KRU.
Kind of. They're still being tested, but the shots are not there for Verno. Follow from Aspas! Able to get 2. Heat with the shutdown. Tex trying to stay alive. Has help on the way. Zekin now joins him backside of the site. And KRU still cannot get the full site in their control to even get the spike on yet. Tex holding inside the dark cover. There's the toggle of the sound cue, does not bait Tex out, and Mazzino is in position to stop the rotation. Paranoia cuts through, should hit absolutely everything, and Mazzino's gonna get another triple and let them know.
He is absolutely letting it rip on stage right now. MIBR up to 10. Mazzino calling the shots for this team. The reads have been so good, but his mechanics have absolutely come alive here on Sunset.
Such a good read. Such a good read. And that's just another impact. And for MIBR, talking about their offense, putting so much focus on getting to the backside of the B site. Take the opposite of that. MIBR never allowed that to happen for KRU, and all of a sudden you're sitting there like, okay, we know they're in front of us or at market. It just makes the decision-making that much more simple. Bonus round here for MIBR. KRU already taking some damage as Heat has to get out of dodge over towards A main. Quick prowler over to market, but no commitment for KRU yet. They cannot afford to make a mistake here in round 15.
They absolutely can't. KRU, look at how much this game plan has shifted from them, though, compared to what we saw last time up against Bestia on this Sunset. So many layers came down to those 0 points that were being thrown over at A main, getting that information. Instead, it's been these mid-heavy plays ever since we saw that first pistol round where MIBR were looking to get aggressive.
Yeah, with double initiators in a Neon, getting space should not be a problem for KRU. But I say that, and the setup right now for MIBR is perfect as Mazzino just continues to call game. Another huge double as KRU just do not clear off the corner. And all of a sudden, KRU have to just rely on trying to bully out Tex over at market, and he sidestepped the paranoia for one, not able to get the second. But the damage has been dealt. Spike collected, Mazzino still on the site, and with 20 seconds, KRU are stuck between a rock and a hard place.
Mazzino has been such a hero, but there is nothing that they can do with Zekin around the corner. 11 rounds there for MIBR and Shift. This is a far cry from the KRU that we saw 13-1 previously. MIBR, they've absolutely done their homework though as well with how early they're going for that A main aggression. They have been forcing KRU to look to respect it at times too. And we're just not seeing that same value out of the KO that we expected to.
Absolutely. I mean, we're talking double initiator Neon. Like, it should be guaranteed to, at worst, evenly exchange first contact. But now we're in dire straits if you're KRU. A couple of sheriffs and a guardian. MIBR going to have the outlaw in the hands of Auspice, and you know what that can mean. First blood already comes through. If he hits that one, I think KRU's mental's probably broken, but Verno will just make sure those kills still get tallied. And KRU is just about down and out here, and MIBR is about to be on series point.
Let's see if Les is going to be able to make any magic happen. It's not going to, no, with the paranoia thrown out, Molly, you can't do anything in that situation. Clinical Sunset coming out from MIBR, but KRU definitely not looking like they're in the same form that we saw them just earlier this week.
No, it's just been so different, and to be fair, it's a different caliber of opponent on the main stage right now with them. MIBR has been playing some really good Val, and we're seeing it come to fruition in every single form.
Yeah. Definitely is. You talk about caliber of opponents, though, but 9 out of the 10 players on stage have been to champs. It's just been Dante who is still looking to pave his way to an international stage.
Knife will come through. KRU able to get, again, a little bit of space here at the front of A. Spike not a part of this play, though, as the Prowler will also do some hunting over towards B. Spy cam in the corner for the defense has not been denied. And the Al drone will find a little bit of confirmation of who is here. And KRU will have to kind of back off, kill some noise, and see if they can create doubt somewhere else on the map, as Mazzino has already essentially re-cleared out and replaced that one-way smoke at A.
Now you have the call from Sadak pulling the rest of KRU. 3 players back over to this A side to help him out. Heat still with the pulse in hand, trying to lurk on the other side of the map. And MIBR, they're more than happy to just play these numbers, look to rotate, shift together.
And we're just going to play run it back just to clear the space.
And Tex has been such a pivotal part of the calling in the mid-round for MIBR with every single nook and cranny he's been able to find himself in, whether on the attack or defense.
This is interesting. KRU look like they're going to get cold feet here. Recon bolt comes through. We're creating noise.
We don't have time for this.
We really don't. I mean, the setup is still well and truly in play for MIBR defensively at B. And that paranoia is not enough for MIBR to sit here and be like, yeah, they're here today. So no one's moving, but that's a big pick from Sadhawk. Could potentially influence the defense just a touch. Here comes the commitment on towards the B point, and look at Tex. Look how quick he's able to move over.
They're not going to expect this whatsoever. That mid position was so important.
Here comes the play, but MW Zera comes through again. Les trying to watch the rotation. Able to stop one, but traded by Verno. 2 versus 2 situation. Ospa's still stuck just on the operator. Fast lane, disrespected as he connects with the Tour de Force. Verno almost gets the recon bolt back.
He's been so good in clutches. Absolutely ice cold.
He's running out of time for this one, though. There's the recon bolt back over towards B main. We'll reveal onto Heat. Quick on the corner, though. Dante shuts it down, and KRU stay alive.
Ooh. Got dicey, though. The timing was just perfect to work out for KRU. With when Aspas made the decision to take that rotation to the A site, it was really narrow margins to make this round work.
Long path in front of you. Very long path in front of you. But the first step is now done. Overdrive at the ready. Sadhak is very close to null command. It looks like there's going to be a lot of early force here for KRU. Able to bully back a lot with this overdrive, but they're not able to find the first blood. Verno stops the play in its tracks. Sadhak going to get to work to get this null command, and honestly, you kind of feel like you have to commit this and just try to see if you can force the issue, but instead, KRU will back away and have to play the rest of the round out 5v4. Heat waiting to see if he can find something through the blaze wall, but is just able to snap away to keep his life.
Yeah, being able to get out there could have been everything for this round. Owl Drone, great to re-clear into elbow. Now the call for MIBR to make the rotation to B.
You just have to have one of those. You're still going to get the plant, but once again, look how different this post plant is for KRU compared to MIBR. They're not able to get to the backside of the site. Hunter's Fury queued out. Nightfall to counter for the attack. And the Hunter's Fury is not able to find too much. Now on towards the site we go. Les still looking to try to contest in the back part of the site as that Nightfall holds MIBR in their spawn. Null command about to expire. Knife Wolf, once again, suppress everything.
Flash up.
You're running out of time here if you're MIBR. It's going to have to be quick. It's going to have to be aggressive, and Heat's able to hold the line, able to connect this time. Good follow-up flash coming through. KRU hold the line perfectly. One more to grab, and it's an absolutely flawless 3v5 post-plant hold for KRU.
Insane hold coming out from that squad. To be able to pull that off in a 3.
Brace yourselves for a
Didn't have any of that marking control, no space. It was just full force fledged from MIBR trying to get through CT. The swings, absolutely perfect to ensure that they're getting those trades, and the timeout now is to be called by MIBR.
That's fair. Starting to see some aggression from KRU.
Onto site.
Yeah, I'm a little bit surprised that MIBR aren't trying to establish some sort of a trap play with that overdrive here to see if they can get an extra weapon collected, because Zekin's going to be just on a stinger, but that overdrive looks like it's going to be a response mechanism.
Mm-hmm.
And this is just down to how much space can you actually contest if you're MIBR here to make KRU a little bit more hard-pressed to find free entry.
Yeah, I think after the Neon nerf as well, with how short that ultimate lasts at this point, it does feel like more of a gamble to try and rip it early in case there isn't anybody there for that play that you're looking for. Now KRU show that presence. A side of the map, we have a bit of a shift in setup here from MIBR. Tex locking things down on the A site.
Tex does have a Vandal, so one-tap ability is very well and truly a possibility here.
He's been an insane anchor for MIBR today.
A deeper one-way comes through for MIBR to try to use defensively. And Aspas will drop. Now it's just on the Tex. He peeks. Oh my goodness, he comes away with 2 and nearly does it all himself. Verno gets an opportunity to establish how he wants to play on top of the site. Recon Bolt gives him an opportunity to find the timing of his peak as well. Heat stopping the play through the connection, or trying to, but Mazzino's able to find the shutdown. And you can't plant still if your KRU will look to be a great opening. Now all of a sudden has him stuck in a bit of a pickle. Verno being sniffed out, but he finds one before falling. Flash comes through, less in trouble. Off the reload, has to go to the pistol. Not gonna work out. MIBR cleaned it up and take a clean 2-0 to stay in the upper bracket, sending KRU down.